So we're going to use a half angle formula to find the exact value for the cosine at pi over 12. So the first thing we want to do is say, all right, pi over 12 is half of what angle? So we do pi over 12 times 2, because that will tell us what pi over 12 is half of. So pi over 12 is half of pi over 6. So I'm going to take the cosine of pi over 6 divided by 2. Okay, so when I plug it into my formula, pi over 6 is going to be the angle that I am using, because that is a unit circle angle and pi over 12 is not. So the cosine formula says take the square root of 1 plus the cosine at that angle over 2. And this angle happens to be pi over 6. So we replace this top angle into our cosine formula right there. Okay, it's positive because pi over 12 is a first quadrant angle, so it's going to be a positive answer. Okay, so let's do some replacing. The cosine at pi over 6 is root 3 over 2. So we replace cosine of pi over 6 with its unit circle value, root 3 over 2. Okay, and now on top, hopefully notice I have a number plus a fraction, okay, which we have to simplify by making the 1 into a fraction itself. So I'm going to make 1 into a 2 over 2 so that I have the same denominators and I can actually perform this addition. So that's going to be square root of 2 plus root 3 over 2, all divided by 2. Okay, so the next step is to deal with this divided by 2. Since I don't particularly care for fractions divided by numbers, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal instead. So dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. Okay, that just changes this from a fraction to a number to both fractions, and it's a little bit easier for my brain to deal with. So 2 times 2 is 4, and all of this times 1 is just all of this. Okay, and now we do a little algebra trick and split the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. Okay, because hopefully you notice this is a perfect square and does no longer need to live underneath the radical. So the top stays under the radical and the bottom becomes a normal number, number 2. So this would be the exact value at the cosine of pi over 12.